This is Corinne Conrino, aka Suburban Time Waster, back in Death Note Killer Within, and I am about to finish the last two tutorials. As you can see, I got two left, the Kira follower and Kira himself. Now, as a Kira follower, my job is to steal investigator IDs for Kira and report those making frequent contact with others. Being arrested while holding an ID will result in my removal from the game. Alright. Okay, last time I talked about Elle and how Elle and the investigators are not, well, mainly Elle is not a good person. Now sometimes, just because someone works for the law does not necessarily make them a good person. Well, this time I'm going to talk about Kira. And first I'm going to talk about the followers of Kira and why they follow him. And yeah, I get why. I mean, let's take Misa, the one in the picture. The reason she follows Kira is because her parents were killed by a crazed madman, and the crazed madman got off. I forgot why, but he ended up getting off. But then Kira killed the guy who killed her parents, and she's been a dedicated follower ever since. So I can see why some people, crazy or not, which let's face it, Misa's crazy. But I remember in the live action movie, they had a kid saying he supported Kira because Kira killed the guy who killed someone who killed another person that was special for him, and he said Kira granted his birthday wish. But I will admit, I'm just going to talk about Misa as a character, and I think she had a compelling backstory, but her presence, not so much. I mean, I liked her. I mean, she was kind of like Harley Quinn in a way, the crazy follower of a crazy guy, insanely devoted. But thing is, with Harley, they did go into her brain a bit. Like Mad Love was about how she realized that she had basically she had made a bad decision. She had been manipulated and used, and she had basically wasted her life devoting it to a man who will never love her. But Misa, they don't really go into her head that much. I mean, let's face it. There are times in the anime when they lose their identity, and when questioned whether where Light and Kira lose her identity, and Light goes against Kira, but Misa, who supports Kira, has no problem siding with Light over Kira, and she's never conflicted about it or anything. I just feel like, considering the role Kira played in her life, Misa would feel a bit more conflict in it. And well, it's not hard to believe why TV Tropes calls her a satellite character. Death Note was not very good at developing the women. They were good at showing complex issues, showing that no one's black and white. And they're very good at developing their men. I mean, Light and Kira are both... Elle and Kira. Why did I say Light and Kira? Sorry. Elle and Kira were both compelling characters, but let's face it, let's look at the women. Let's look at Misa. She is basically a satellite character, static, doesn't really develop, gets kind of tossed to the side in the second arc without question, and her only memorable scene after losing her memory for the second time, thanks to Kira, or Light, whatever you want to call him, is her fight with Takada over a man. Yeah, this show did not pass the Bechdel test. Takada is basically the second Kira, except she's not the second Kira. She's basically Light's second Misa, except not as crazy and entertaining, because Misa was entertaining, you gotta admit. I mean, she did have a presence. Well, okay, I said she didn't have a presence, but what I meant was that she didn't really have an ongoing character arc. But Takada has less of a presence than Misa does. She was more composed. At the end of the day, she was basically obsessed with a guy who would throw her aside once she stopped being useful to him. And that's what Misa and Takada were fighting about. A man who would easily just throw them aside without a second thought to them. And Takada died for to show her devotion to Light. Even though, yeah, Light did write her name, but again, just two women obsessed with a man and having no will of their own or no thoughts of their own. And, well, the only other notable one is Naomi, who was supposed to be the seasoned FBI agent, but her husband kind of like tosses her, tells her that when they get married, they're both FBI agents. She's more skilled, but she's the one who has to quit her job and stay in the home so she doesn't get put into danger, even though she's the better FBI agent. People say that this is Japanese values being put into an American setting because she and Ray are both American. But yeah, I hate to burst your bubble. There are American households like this too. It's just that America's more discreet about their sexism than Japan is. Let's face it. And Naomi, who's supposed to be very talented, gets easily tricked by Kira into revealing her real name. So yeah, this anime does not write women well. Alright, enough talk, let's play as a Kira follower. Yeah, it's gonna take a while. I mean, look at the apple. I gotta admit, it's one of those can't take my eyes off it loading thingies. Okay, win conditions, kill L, or raise a new world progress god gauge to 100.
よろしく頼んだ。
This time, you'll be playing as one of Kira's followers, who worship Kira like a god and would gladly lay down their lives in the name of the new world. So it's like a cult. First, try contacting Kira with the transceiver. Hold down on the transceiver button until the display changes. Okay, transceiver is control.
よくやったな。
That's it. While using the transceiver, only Kira will be able to hear your voice. Even if someone is right next to you, what you say stays between you and Kira. And it goes without saying that Kira can also reach out to you as well. When that happens, receiving transmission will appear on your screen. Or am I talking to Kira, my secret telepathic language, and only he and I can pick up? Okay, steal IDs and give them to Kira. Hey, a follower's primary job is to steal IDs and give them to Kira. I've issued a dummy surveillance task on that investigator. Take this chance to steal their ID. I'm usually the one who gets their IDs stolen. What a nice change. Yeah, I totally thought you had to press a button. Turns out I just have to walk next to them and I can steal the ID. You'll notice the surveillance task was completed when you stole their ID, but it's just for show. Dummy task completion affects neither investigation progress nor New World progress. Now you've stolen an ID. That said, approaching others carelessly will make them suspect your true loyalties. Rem, however, can help you secure plausible deniability. Rem normally hovers about you, but when she sees an investigator who has already come in contact with several others this round, she'll fly around them to inform you. Look, a wealth of investigators to choose between. See who Rem goes to and take their IDs so they won't be sure you were responsible. Alright, Rem. I assume you now have a handle on stealing IDs and Rem's abilities. Time to give the spoils to Kira. Followers can see Kira's location via a red marker and vice versa. You can hand over IDs much like any other item. Press the give button, but IDs can only be given to Kira, so don't worry about passing one to an investigator by mistake. Okay, don't want to make it too easy for the investigators. You've done well. Now Kira can judge the investigator without arousing suspicion. See how this goes down. Seems that investigator was L. Victory is ours. This concludes the follower tutorial. Really? That was way shorter than the investigator and L ones. So the villain has to do less work than the hero. Okay, for lack of better terms. Kira, use a death note to judge those whose true names are known. Alright, now I get to talk about the big man himself, Kira, Light Yagami. The one character who without him, there would be no death note. Actually, technically without Ryuk, there would be no death note since he's the one who drops it in, but Kira is the instigator, the main cause, the whole reason all this goes down. And where do I stand on Kira? Well, as I said earlier, I don't think the Kira thing is that black and white. Yes, he is a vigilante working outside the law, passing judgment on those he sees as unworthy of living. And well, let's face it, it is basically the law's job, but the law does sometimes fail on you. I mean, a lot of cops can be corrupted, and a lot of people who deserve to rot in jail or deserve the death penalty, if you believe in the death penalty or not, do end up walking freely and endangering others. So, the laws especially screws women over a lot because a lot of rapists go free. A lot of abusers, a lot of molesters, harassment charges. I mean, we did have a brief hope spot with #MeToo, but, well, let's face it, you don't hear much about that anymore. And after a certain trial that will not be named, people think that had one woman abuser, suddenly all women are lying abusers. Funny, because if a man got shown as an abuser, everyone would be saying, I swear not all men are like this. I mean, let's face it, one woman's acts can affect all women, but a man's acts does not affect all men. It's a weird world we live in. Like I said, I mean, the law, and not just that, but sometimes the law screws over minorities too, and there has been cases of cop brutality, which was what caused the Black Lives Matter movement to form. And But the thing is, Kira is not doing this out of the goodness of his heart. He believes himself to be a god and that only he can pass judgment. And the thing is, while he has helped, I mean, it is useful that he's murdered rapist. And he did murder that guy who was holding people hostage. I swear I gotta watch this show again. But a lot of it's coming back to me just playing this game, which makes me want to watch the show again. But he's been known to kill purse snatchers, and when he got out of control, like when he was really ruling, he was actually threatening to kill lazy people or people who went against him or people who no longer served their purpose. Like, he killed Takada just because, well, he was done with her. So he is a manipulative sociopath who would kill you as soon as look at you. Well, I'll admit, if a crazy guy is gonna kill people, I'd rather they go after the bad people than the good people. I mean, if I gotta choose. And not just that, but Kira's pulled names off the internet and off of like a news reports, and he doesn't know if these people are guilty or innocent or not, which was actually pointed out in the horrible American Death Note remake, which we won't be discussing. But that's one part I actually liked about that they pointed that out. But here's the thing: in Japan, I'm not sure if it's like this anymore. But I heard this when I was researching Phoenix Wright. Their law system lives by guilty until proven innocent, and in America, it's innocent until proven guilty. So it actually makes sense that Light would just pass judgment as guilty in the Japanese version without so much of thought, while in the American version, he actually does have the innocent until proven guilty mindset. It represents differences in culture. Now, I'm not saying that someone from Japan couldn't question the system and feel like it's not right to pass judgment until you know proof, and someone from America could be quick to send someone to the metaphorical chopping block. But the general consensus is that it's guilty until proven innocent in Japan, innocent until proven guilty in America. But there have been people questioning the system, and I know there's a word for it, but I'm blanking on it right now, and pointing out its flaws, which is the whole reason for the Phoenix Wright games. That's pointing out how unjust a system like this truly is, how more often than not, it's innocent people who have to pay. And now, I've said my piece about Kira. Well, okay. I haven't exactly said. The truth is, no. I don't support Kira. I can see the good that Kira can do, but in the long run, he does go crazy with power, and he does abuse it, which can happen whether you're working outside the law or inside of it. There's no in the real world, like in Death Note, there's no line between good and bad. It's not all cops are good, all criminals are bad. There's always like this gray morality in place. In Death Note, I like that it's not black and white like that. And now we play as Kira to pass judgment on the criminals. Yeah, this has gotten deep, but let's face it. You cannot play a Death Note game without going into deep. Death Note is very philosophical, it's very political. Kill L or raise the New World Progress Gauge to 100. I bet a real game takes a lot longer than this.
よろしく頼んだ。
Time for you to take up Kira's mantle in my place. Kira wields the Death Note, which kills anyone whose name is written inside, for the purpose of creating a righteous world. Alright, I get to kill people! Kira's primary role is to judge criminals to increase New World progress. Try selecting Judge.
選んでみろ。
Good, you've opened the Death Note. Now choose the criminal. Press the buttons displayed in order and the criminal will be judged. You will be unmasked as Kira if anyone sees the Death Note, so only pass judgment when no one else is around. Yeah, but you never know when somebody sneaks up on you. Died on the spot from a heart attack. The criminal judged by the Death Note collapsed, and New World progress increased. It will do so every time you pass judgment, so you'll want to do so as often as you can. There's a limit to how many criminals can be judged in a day. When judgment is passed, a criminal somewhere within the map will collapse. Now try your hand at interfering with the investigation. Use video message from Kira from the command card menu. Hold on, I want to check to see if the microphone's up. I've talked into nothing too many times. Oh, thank God. Sorry, but I've talked into this thing only to realize after the fact, I've talked into nothing. Video message from Kira. Draws investigators to a single location. If not resolved, New World progress level increases by 10. Oh my god, the video messages from Kira. I remember Misa was the second Kira, and she was the one who first started it. I mean, she was a lot more, she was actually a lot smarter, and they did a lot more with her character before she met Light, but once she met Light, it was just, they just focused on girl obsessed with Light and did nothing with her character after that, which is a real shame, because she was pretty cool. I mean, that was actually a very good plan she did. But unfortunately, well, she forgot to check for hair when she sent the message in. Which anyone could have made that mistake. I mean, I probably could have made that mistake. And honestly, I probably wouldn't think to keep my fingerprints and everything off of there. But still, it was a case of woman ruins things to the man. And that happens a lot with Misa. Though there was that time when she tricked that third Kira into revealing himself, but then I remember Elle kind of derided her for that because it turned out she did the wrong thing, even though it was clever. I forgot the situation. They framed it like, oh, she was wrong to do this. Okay, video message from Kira. Draw the investigators to a single location. If not resolved, New World's progress levels increases by 10. God really is on my side. They won't be able to make any progress with that going on. The incidents occurred at the location indicated by the red marker, so head in that direction. I don't know, did Light ever make any videos? I gotta check that. Investigators are too focused to see what's happening around them while dealing with Kira command cards. Approach an investigator resolving the incident and steal their ID. Alright. The gauge will automatically fill while you are near the target. Once it's full, the ID is yours. You can use the ID you just stole to judge the investigator it belonged to. First select Judge. But yeah, there's Ryuk on the left and Rem on the right. It makes sense that Rem helps the followers since she's like devoted to Misa. Alright, Rem is also one of the female characters. But yeah, her whole character is basically devotion to Misa, who herself doesn't really care about Rem. And she never questions it or anything. And Ryuk, well, he's just here to watch. He's just basically treating it like a TV show. Watching who's gonna win and just eating apples. He's absolutely no help, just an observer. Well, he does explain. Well, Ryuk does kind of like explain some core elements of the Death Note. He's the one who drops it. And he's the one who talks about the Shinigami eyes. So he's useful plot-wise, but he's not useful to Light. Okay, he was useful at one point when Light had cameras in his room, but, well, he was doing it for his own self-interest because he needed a blind spot to eat an apple. I've talked about that in a previous video, about apples being cigarettes for Shinigami. Now pick who to judge. Select the investigator's ID you stole. Yeah, I got off track. You have the power to select where people will die when judging investigators. At this time, just select died on the spot from a heart attack. Once you decide who to judge and where they should die, write down the details in the Death Note. Okay, now I get it. I'm supposed to type... Nicely done. The Death Note is certainly powerful, yet not omnipotent. Don't use it carelessly, or people will start putting the pieces together. Yeah, Light ended up using it carelessly at first to show people that there was that he was judging the criminals of the world, but then he started kind of using it more carefully when L got involved. Then he got careless again after L died. Yeah. Careless, careful, careless is the whole thing with Light. And it is kind of scary that someone can write your name in a death note. But honestly, Light's one of the better people to have it because, well, me personally, I wouldn't have to worry about Light attacking me. I'm like so not on the radar. Or say for like a few places on social media with like a few followers, and well, between you and me, I don't think Light's gonna care about my Cyberpunk 2077 kill count. You can judge investigators once you have their IDs, but only twice per day at maximum. This limit can be changed in room settings. But I'll teach you a way to relieve suspicion. If you do think you're going to get caught, Kira can switch roles by giving the death note to a Kira follower. Try doing so now. Oh yeah, Light's actually done that in the anime too.
渡してみろ。
Use the give button when you want to pass an item to someone. And select the death note to give it away. Oh, I selected before I finished reading that.
うまく使え。
Giving away the death note once others begin to suspect you means there will be little in the way of consequence if you're arrested. Play it smart and you can regain L's trust. Oh yeah, Light did this like 100 times in the anime. Well, okay, he gave it away like once and lost his memory. But he did have Misa's death note given away to, God, what's the ex-Kira's name? I think it's Teru Mikami? When Kira gives a death note to a Kira follower, it'll be highlighted in red. Anyone nearby will be able to see who Kira is, so be discreet. An investigator's death will be announced before the meeting begins, even if no one has found the body, like in Among Us.
報告は特にないな。
As neither Kira nor Kira's followers actually helped the investigation, there's no report on your task progress here. Once a criminal is judged, investigators will not be able to question them, slowing the investigation's progress. This is the number of criminals judged today. Looks like your new world progress has increased due to your judgments. If the gauge reaches a star, Kira will obtain a command card, and if it fills all the way, we win. Seems the investigators already suspect you. You might as well just let them arrest you. Cast a vote to skip. Hey, I actually got arrested.
Yoく覚えておくんだ。
Now that you've gone from being Kira to a mere follower, you'll only be held until the next day, if arrested, so long as you weren't carrying any IDs. Handing off the death note saved your skin. The current Kira already has the ID of the investigator who's restraining you, so just wait for them to be judged. That was quick.
Boku no kachi da. よくやったな。
Would you look at
う
that?
まく L をさばいて
Would you
勝利
look
を
at
目指して
that?
くれ。
Turns out they were actually L. How incautious of the world's greatest detective. This concludes the Kira tutorial. Hold on, I'm waiting for it to load before I say it. Alright! I finished all the tutorials and with that, my time wasting has come to an end. When I pick up this game again, which might be my Halloween stream, and well, right now my Halloween poll is tied between Dead by Daylight and Death Note Killer Within. So if you want to see this game streamed on Halloween, give it a vote in the poll. Like I said, just one more vote and I can break the tiebreaker. And after that one tiebreaker vote, I'm putting that poll. I'm closing the poll. Because that's been up too long. And if you want to see that Halloween stream or anything else I might post, you can hit the subscribe button and hit the little notification bell to stay up to date. You can also follow one of my other social media accounts, which you'll find in the profile, or no, not in the profile, that's Twitch, in the summary. And you can leave a comment saying whether or not you've seen Death Note, whether or not you've played this game, whether or not you liked my video, and whether or not you're Team Kira or Team L.